you ever seen a headline about a husband killing his wife or a kid attacking his friends and thought, wow, I'm glad my loved ones would never do something like that? Well, what makes you so sure? There's been a running theme to this series that I'm sure those of you who've been watching since the beginning have picked up on. That in the real world, the scariest things aren't monsters or demons or aliens, they're humans. But there's still been this otherness to the conversation, a form of separation not just between the audience and the protagonist, but between the protagonist and the antagonist. It's always been a stranger, with the one exception of the ex-girlfriend, who admittedly had also been cut out of the protagonist's life. These characters aren't people we're supposed to know. They're villains, appearing out of the woodwork to chase us down for a night, then disappearing back into the dark. I think we'd all like to believe that that's who the bad guys of our world are. The people outside, the mugger in the alleyway, the killer in the streets. But never someone we know. Someone we trust, someone we care about, who we think cares about us. They would never hurt us, right? The Fears to Fathom series is all about dealing with the unexpected. But do you know the worst time to encounter something out of nowhere? When you're dealing with your finances. Those of you who've been active in the community might know that I just moved, and I also just started paying for a car. I really can't afford to be wasting money on unnecessary subscriptions. Luckily, I don't have to worry about that, thanks to the sponsor of tonight's video, Rocket Money. Rocket Money is an all-in-one app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower bills, and manage your money better. It's been super helpful using Rocket Money to cancel all my unwanted subscriptions. Once I connect my bank account, Rocket Money identifies all of my subscriptions in a single list. From there, I can just select the ones I don't want anymore, and Rocket Money may be able to help me cancel them in just a few taps. Rocket Money will also automatically scan your bills to find savings. With just a couple of taps, Rocket Money can help you negotiate your bills, from internet service to cable and phone bills. You don't need to worry about customer service calls. You can just let the app's negotiators go to work to try to get you the best possible rate. Life is already pretty chaotic, but you can take control of your finances today. Click the link in the description or scan my QR code to get started for free. That's right, free. And thank you again to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. Welcome, Boneheads, to the finale of our series covering the human horrors of the Fears to Fathom games. If you haven't seen the first 4 episodes of this series, then you should watch those first. This video will be here when you're done. For those of you who are caught up with the series, you may have noticed that, while still atmospherically tense and scary, these games have gotten a little sillier with each entry. With the addition of goofy voice acting, strange TV channels, and our beloved piss minigame, we've had more moments to joke about, and therefore I'd say the videos themselves have gotten a little sillier. I don't know if that's going to be the case for tonight's analysis, because the story we're about to live through is one that has you constantly questioning who the real villain is, and who you can trust, if anyone. It's December. Winter. Fitting that the series ends at a time like this, when things are darkest. We don't get introductory text as we start like we do in the other games. Instead, we simply wake up at our computer. We need a coffee to finish our day at the office, and so we stand to get it. We're playing as Sydney Harper in this episode. She's a 23-year-old office worker at a consulting firm, which is where we are right now, working late, it would seem. The city outside is dark, and there aren't a lot of cars on the road. I love an environment like this. Night feel, some people refer to the aesthetic as. It's peaceful, and the graphics are nostalgic. Classic horror game ambiance. At least we can be sure that this cup of coffee hasn't been drugged. Piss minigame! This version isn't as fun. Someone else walks into the bathroom. Nothing to be concerned about. Seriously? Already? I don't think this one needed to be a jump scare game. Anyway, it's just a janitor. He apologizes for startling us. He didn't know anyone was in here. The music and the atmosphere is a little creepy at this point, but nothing about this interaction actually worries me. The two seem familiar with each other, and they're both friendly and polite. The phone is ringing as we return to our desk. Someone named Mike is calling us, and apparently he's been trying to reach our cell for the last 2 hours. He speaks very familiarly to us, calling us the nickname Harp. Apparently, we're friends from college. Why has he been calling us so desperately, though? Very quickly, we can realize that there is an awkwardness between these two characters, and I have a pretty good idea of why, but I don't want to make assumptions quite yet. Maybe Mike's just a little socially awkward. Like I said before, nothing wrong with that. Mike asks if Sydney had the chance to look at a rental house. He really wants to see her. And Nora, he adds after a pause. A mutual friend of theirs, it would seem. Yeah. Anyway. Not sure why Mike couldn't have done it during the 2 hours he was trying to contact Sydney, but Mike also suggests the two of them ride together to catch up. He already mentioned this other friend, Nora, but clearly she's not Mike's focus on this trip. Mike asks for Sydney to make sure the rental is under $100 a night, mentioning that Nora is apparently on a pretty tight budget recently. I guess that's fine. Not sure if we'll be able to find a quality place for that cheap, but I guess I can look. So this is what we're working on, huh? Cool. I have nothing to say about all of this. Fuck yeah, video games in my video game, hell yeah. Even the places outside of our budget seem a little run down. I really don't think... This place actually seems pretty nice. It's got all the basic necessities, fishing and Wi-Fi, and it's only $99 a night. It only has 2 reviews and 3 stars, which might be worth looking into, but we don't. This takes care of the job that Mike had assigned to us, and at this point, Sydney's so tired she's likely just happy to have it done. It's at this point, after the booking has been made, that we get our classic introductory text. We learn a little bit more about Sydney's job and how it's been a struggle to prove her worth, leaving her with little time for leisure or a social life. To get away from this pressure, at the suggestion of her college friend Mike, she'll be taking a weekend trip to Rayll, Vermont. Her friend Nora will also be joining. We've learned the majority of this already from context clues, but getting this little moment in the office before introducing the main story is a fun way to start this final entry. 2 days later, the trip begins. The scene opens in an elevator down to the parking garage. We have a brief chat with a man from the building named Gael before heading out to meet Mike. He calls us, but we miss it and instead just check our texts from him. He tells us he's pulling into the parking garage now. His older texts match the energy we heard on the phone earlier. Friendly and forward, but a little pushy, not seeming to notice Sydney's hesitance. We also see some texts from someone named Rick Wilson, who appears to be the owner of the cabin we're headed to. We hug Mike. He immediately asks for a better one. After a little chatting, we get into the car with Mike. It starts snowing around 4:30. As Mike drives through the haze, he reminisces with Sydney about college and the changes in how the two of them look at the world. It's clear Mike feels that he and Sydney have been through a lot together. We learn a little about Mike's job. He works on a machine learning thing to predict something in a whatever. It's not super interesting, and neither is Sydney's job, really. That's kind of the reason this whole trip is happening, to escape from that tedium for a bit. The conversation becomes a little more awkward when Mike comments that the only good thing that came from college was us, referencing himself and Sydney. Sydney's dialogue options indicate that the phrasing of the sentiment is confusing or surprising to her. Now, I want to take a break from summarizing to talk about what we're seeing, and will continue to see in this game from Mike. He's referred to as a deuteragonist in the game's wiki, which only means that he's the second most important person in a story, beneath the protagonist. What this word doesn't indicate is whether or not the character is aligned with or in opposition to the protagonist, only that they're secondarily relevant. The interesting thing about Mike's character is that, from pretty early on, we're not sure whether we can trust him. He hasn't done anything specifically wrong, but there's an element to his character that comes across as pushy, maybe desperate, a little selfish perhaps. Now, that might seem a little harsh for a character who we've barely spoken to, but A, I've played this whole game, I know how things shake out, and B, you have to remember that in this circumstance, we're playing as a woman heading into an unfamiliar location with a man who, I think I can already say with pretty high confidence, is attracted to her. Again, not the end of the world, but it's this perceived combination of attraction, pushiness, as well as a bit of a disregard for Sydney's feelings and concerns that raises the potential for concern. It's not a blaring siren, but remember, you never know who you can trust. Trust. Mike seems to sense the tension in this moment and self-corrects, but we distract ourselves with a text from Rick, who's checking in about our arrival time. We're able to move on from the conversation after we notice a school bus parked by the side of the road, which Sydney finds interesting. We almost hit a deer. Mike says that in Native American lore, seeing a deer cross your path is like getting a message from the universe. I did a super basic Google search to see if that was true, and it kind of is. The few little things I read implied that encountering a deer in the wild is sort of a call to trust one's own intuition, which is actually helpful and relevant advice for this game, but I don't think that's what Mike is implying by bringing this up. Mike also says that driving at night sort of feels like flying a spaceship, the snow particles acting as stars in distant galaxies as he moves past them, which is annoying, because I made a similar comparison earlier in this series, and I don't like agreeing with Mike. You may be wondering why I'm being so critical of Mike, and it's because I don't like him. I'm a Mike hater. At 6:45, already running late, you and Mike make a quick stop for pizza. I love pizza. It's my favorite food. Oh, what a gentleman. This place is actually pretty packed. As we take in the area, we see a news report on TV talking about the snowstorm that we've been experiencing the beginning of. It looks like it's going to get worse. I hope Nora is okay. I think I'll feel better when we're all together. Another person takes away a little of that awkwardness. The people on TV are arguing. I get to choose multiple toppings for my pizza. I pick pepperoni every time. I know what I like. As we sit down with Mike to wait for our order, we can see that man with the backpack walking back and forth, accosting other customers. We get a quick voice message from Nora, apologizing for being late and letting us know that something came up last minute, and it's going to take her even longer to get out there. Well, at least we know she's okay, but there goes the social safety net of another friend. By the way, the voice actor for Nora is Lily Pichu. Mike says it's a bummer that Nora will be late, and that the two of you will have to start the fun without her. He also says, you know what I mean. No, dude, I don't know what you mean. Anyway, pizza time! Oh, hey, look who's back. I guess I knew this was coming. The guy in the backpack, who from now on we'll just call the hiker, is looking to catch a ride with us down the road. Sorry, dude, I already played the hitchhiking episode. I'm tapped out on that front. Good luck, though. As expected, he's not taking it very well. He hits one bingo square for us here when he ominously tells us that unkind people like us meet unkindness themselves. Great. Glad I'll never see that dude again. Time to go. I want to drive. Mike's making a whole thing about it. Come on, dude. I haven't mentioned it in previous episodes, but the artist who's usually playing on the radio during the driving scenes is the artist Neb. He's not really my style, but people tend to like his tracks during the game, so I thought I'd mention it. Finally made it to Woodbury. The house is pretty nice. We have the code from Rick to get in. While Mike goes to enjoy his own personal piss minigame, we start putting groceries away. Our turn. We send Rick a little confirmation text, letting him know we're here. Now that we're all settled in, we can take a little tour of the house. Oh, great. Another dark and spooky basement. Look, I've played these games long enough. It's gonna be just like all the other ones. We're afraid of the basement, but the antagonist is gonna break in through the back door or trap us outside or something. You can't trick me this time, game. There is a mysterious door down here. Probably still just a red herring, though. We've already seen most of the main floor, so we can check around upstairs. Very nice, very nice. I wonder where I should go. What the fuck? It always gets me. Who are you? He says he's the owner. Apparently he was looking for his cat and then came here to fix a TV. That's a little confusing. I'll note that he doesn't tell us his name, but I mean, we already know it, I guess. If he was here, why didn't he just respond or come down when we texted him earlier? Maybe he was just distracted. Look, I know it's suspicious, but honestly, a lot of our interactions have been weirdly suspicious during the trip, and we've got a lot of game left, so let's forget about it for now. Better to just focus on what's actively happening. And what's happening right now is Rick is giving us a tour of the house. Despite clearly making Sydney uncomfortable, the tour is pretty average. Mike doesn't seem as nervous as you. He's more excited about the trip. Maybe that's a good thing. We learn a couple important locations during this tour, namely the location of flashlights for if the power goes out and the water heater for in case the water needs heating. Rick is pretty dismissive of the basement and tells us the door is just for storage, but then, all of a sudden, at the top of the stairs, he vaguely implies to us that the basement might be haunted, and that we might hear voices or shuffling from downstairs. Okay, man, what are you hiding? What's behind the door? Sydney and Mike don't ask this question, though, as Rick laughs it off. Huh. I guess he was just messing with us. Still feel weird about the basement, though. I should just let it go. Ain't nothing gonna be wrong with that basement. I guarantee it. Rick heads out, after not so subtly probing to find out our name, implying in his old age that he forgot the name on the booking. Okay, man. Well, at least he's leaving. That makes things a little better. Even Mike was a little creeped out, but he moves on quick. We go to take a shower. When we come back, Mike has got a fishing rod with him. Oh, yeah, there was supposed to be a lake nearby that we can fish at. Okay, that sounds kind of fun. Let's do it. Mike has a baked carp recipe that he wants to try, so that's what we're fishing for. You may have noticed, not just from my summary, but from some of the on-screen dialogue options, that Sydney seems to have a pretty complicated relationship with Mike. In the best of cases, they're genuinely friends and can chat and have a good time together, but sometimes Mike gets weird. A little pushy, a little implicative. We're pretty regularly fluctuating between casual fun and discomfort. This is why we wanted Nora here. Right now, though, things are fine. Fishing with Mike is fun, especially because we're better than him at it. After we've caught enough, we go back inside and help Mike cook the meal. Question for my culinary boneheads: does this look good to you? How's the recipe? While we wait for the fish to cook, Mike suggests playing some board games. We saw a few earlier. You know what? We're on a good normal streak here. Let's keep it going. There are a couple normal games we could play, but because I'm me, and I still have that basement ghost on the brain, I decide that we should play with the Ouija board in the basement. It's a pretty normal playing experience, to be perfectly honest. The planchette moves a little bit, everyone gasps and asks if the other one is doing that, it doesn't spell anything interesting, and we move on. Except, near the end of our little ghost adventure, Mike hears something from behind him and totally flips out. He runs upstairs, abandoning us in the dark. Did it come from behind that door? Maybe there really is a ghost. Nah, I'm just kidding. I truly don't believe that to be the case. Anyway, hey man, what the hell? You left me to die down there. Mike is saved by the bell though, and by bell, I mean oven timer. The fish are done. We go eat in front of the TV where we see another thrilling episode of our favorite show, Cooking with Jeffrey. Tonight he's making asparagus chocolate cake with a spoonful of mayonnaise. Delicious. Perfect to watch while eating. Mike goes upstairs to check the shipment details for his new DS, not joking, and we clean up in the meantime. And then, we get a very concerning text from Mike. I think there's someone under my bed right now. Thanks for the update, Mike. What did you want me to do about it? We, of course, go check on Mike. I don't see him entering his room, but I do see the bed. I'll just quietly... Damn it, Mike! Seriously, dude? After that shit in the basement, now you want to play jokes? Look, if it were Connor in there, I might find it funny, but Sydney is getting seriously fed up with your shit, dude. Man to man here, I don't really think you have a chance with her, but even if you did, these moments aren't helping. This jump scare somehow gets spun into a game of hide and seek, and now we're the hider. Basement time again. At least we know he's scared down here. Mike stops at the mysterious door as if we somehow went in there, but does end up finding us in our little nook. Our turn to seek. Found you, asshole. Oh, you heard another sound? Yeah, right, dude. Look, I'm gonna go up to the attic to check, since I'm not a coward, and if you try to fuck with me again, I'm gonna punch you in the nose. Oh, there actually is something up here. A kitty! Meow, 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 meow. Apologies. I guess this is probably the cat that Rick was looking for earlier. Maybe I should shoot him a text, let him know I found it. Nah, just gonna do some more hide and seek. Maybe he won't check outside. It is pretty cold. No, he found me. I guess we'll do one more round. We're really committing to this children's game. Mike? Mike, are you— Rick, why are you back? I found your cat. He's fixing a faucet now? I guess he did mention earlier that it was broken, but why is he using a hammer to fix it? I've never had to fix a faucet, but it doesn't strike me as a hammer-based job. Mike is actually fed up now and stands up to Rick, telling him that we rented the house and we'd like it to ourselves, even threatening to call law enforcement. I'm glad you're putting your foot down, Mike, but I'm worried we may be making an enemy of a stranger we know has a hammer and access to this house. Rick says there are no cops in Woodbury, which— really? Could that actually be true? It doesn't sound right, especially because I remember passing cop cars on the road, but Rick says it so confidently, I almost believe him. I realize, though, that he's just trying to intimidate us, make us feel less safe, like we can't do anything to him. Not a fan. Rick does end up leaving, in a pretty bad mood. Let's keep an eye out from now on. And we're definitely done with hide and seek now. Mike and Sydney agree that Rick is weird, but probably harmless. Sure, that might be the case, but it might not. I'd be a lot more on edge by now, and might not even be comfortable staying through the night. Not just the two of us, but, well, we're already here, and we already paid, so I guess we're staying. Sydney decides to get some rest. A little after 11:30, she's woken by a knock at her door. It's Mike. Oh boy. He says he has to talk to us about something. When he walks in, he goes straight to the window and stares out. I knew this was coming. I just kind of wished Nora would be here to help me deal with it. No Nora still, though, so... Alright, let's hear it, Mike. Mike moves to the bed, asks us to sit with him. Uh-huh. Mike tells us that we don't have to sleep alone tonight, and Sydney asks him where this is coming from. He reminds her of a trip the two took to Oregon. A trip Sydney remembers as being pretty awkward, as have been many of her interactions with Mike, but which clearly means a great deal more to him. Apparently, the two of them got drunk together and something happened. We don't really know the specifics, but it's clear from the dialogue here that while Mike was really happy about it, Sydney was less thrilled. It seems that since then, Mike has had a different view of their relationship than Sydney does, and he's been comfortable riding with that view for a while. The awkward conversation here is interrupted by a text from Nora, who has broken down on the side of the road in the snow. Wow, I guess Nora really did save me from this conversation. Mike offers to go on his own because we're already in our pajamas, which is nice of him, but as he's leaving, he tells us that we'll finish this conversation later, clearly not understanding that there's nothing to finish. Mike asks for another hug before he leaves. Really? Now? Fine, man. As Mike leaves, we have a moment to think. Why is it so hard to trust Mike? Why do I, Connor, dislike him so much, despite him never hurting Sydney or doing anything all that terrible? And I think it's because, while not the actual villain, there is still a villainous quality to his character. What is a villain if not simply someone who desires an outcome the protagonist doesn't, who utilizes every tool at their disposal to accomplish their goal, who feels entitled to his goals and to victory, and who crashes out when he's unable to achieve it? I'm being a little harsh. Is it evil to have a crush on someone who doesn't like you back? No. Is it a crime to confess your feelings to someone even if it's a little uncomfortable? Not at all. But in this story, where it feels like Sydney has been dragged into the majority of her experiences, where she's been tired and grumpy and wholly uninterested in pursuing any kind of romantic relationship with Mike, and he keeps pushing, that's a little different. The key word is selfish. Now, luckily, I really don't think Mike is going to do anything to Sydney. He's not even in the house anymore, but if he was, I don't think he'd have it in him if he wanted to. And I'm glad that this is the case. It's not like I was hoping for Sydney to be betrayed by someone she had a history with, but this outcome, this peaceful, if uncomfortable resolution, it's not a given. There's a world, actually several worlds, and plenty of real-world cases where this story has a very different, much more violent outcome. And that's really the reason we've been on edge this whole time, because we, both the audience and likely Sydney herself, are very familiar with what could have happened. But the game's not over, so if Mike's not the villain, who is? At 12:40 in the morning, we're woken by the sound of the front doorbell ringing. Huh. Is Mike back? That's not Mike. It's not Rick either. Who is that? Why are they here? This dude wants to come into the house. Something about the way he speaks, the little excuse he gives is familiar. Is this that hiker from earlier? Holy shit, did he follow us here? Whatever the case, he's definitely not coming inside. We threatened to call the cops, but he repeats what Rick told us. There aren't any cops around here. Why aren't there cops around here? It's not like I'm usually itching for them, but holy shit, the whole town seems to know. Are there just no laws here? We tell the hiker we're calling the cops anyway, and he does leave, after telling us that we're gonna get what's coming to us. Karma's a bitch, he says, before walking off into the storm. Personally, I'd be awake and on edge after an interaction like that, but Sydney is so tired that she heads right back to sleep after the hiker leaves. But right as she lays down, she hears a shout and a thump from outside. Oh shit, what did that hiker just do? We text Rick, asking him to come back over and check on what happened. I guess if there are no cops around, he's our best bet. He clearly has no issue coming over here, so it takes Rick almost no time at all to come over, like a shockingly short amount of time. How far away do you live, Rick? I know you said you're in the area, but are you literally next door? It's like you were already right outside. We explain the situation to Rick, who tells us that we don't need to worry about the hiker anymore. That's nice, but what do you mean? Didn't you hear that shout outside? Something's going down. I'm worried that... I just realized that in all of the chaos, I'm now alone in this dark house with Rick, and he seems to know it. Rick walks to the fireplace, starts warming himself, and then we get a text from Rick. He's confused. He lives in Burlington. He hasn't been to the rental property in weeks. And as we put down the phone, the man we've been calling Rick walks right up to us and asks if we're okay. We can choose to confront Rick, or try to just act natural and get him out of the house, but either way, it doesn't matter. Rick can see right through us, and all of a sudden, he starts telling us exactly what we're afraid of. That only one of us is leaving this house alive. And then, he runs off to go find a weapon. Oh, fuck! But it's not true. Not everyone is out to hurt you. There've been a lot of reoccurring tropes in this series. The hiding, the lying, the piss minigames, the loud eating, the running, the untrustworthiness. But you know what else has been consistent? People coming to help. In the first game, your neighbor alerts you to the fact that you're in danger. In Norwood Hitchhike, not only are you given a ride by a stranger who has a hard time with people, but your life is also saved by the man running the front desk of the motel. You're mostly on your own in the third game, but your friends send you support and valuable information about the property you're staying at, and even the dog alerts you to intruders around the house. In Ironbark Lookout, you're almost completely alone, but you still have Bonner for support, and Billy comes to bring you supplies. We die in these games if it wasn't for our own self-preservation skills as well as dumb luck, but we can't discount that some people don't want to hurt us. Some people, as strange or as unsettling as they are, just want to help. Which is why, despite everything we've seen from him and felt about him, our last hope is Mike. We just have to survive long enough for him to get back. We hide in the basement. Not Rick comes down and looks for us, but seems to miss the nook. Thank God. Instead, he opens the secret door and walks inside. Guess I was wrong about the basement. I wonder if he's been hiding down here the whole time. That's probably what Mike heard down here earlier. No time to waste, though. We sprint out of here, just gotta make it to the... God damn it, Nora! And for the very last time in this series, we run for our lives. We're not gonna have time for the front door, he'll be on us in a second, so instead we go the last good hiding place we can think of. We go to the closet, the one beneath the attic. Not Rick enters the room. He looks around. In the background, we hear the sound of a car pulling up. Then, a little later, the doorbell being rung. Mike is back. Not Rick kneels down to see who it is. We're not in the clear yet. If we head right back downstairs too early, Not Rick will see us, and that'll be it. Even if Mike sees us too. There just won't be enough time. I also know that Rick could come back up here, keep checking the space. I hope my friends are okay, but in the meantime, I have to move further up, into the attic. Nora calls again while we're up in the attic. See, this is why I went up. Not Rick might have heard me. In fact, he's right beneath us. Mike starts shouting something downstairs, and we hear from the real Rick that he's called 911 and also talked to Mike and Nora. I guess there are cops in this town. Villains just love to lie. As we head downstairs, finally, peaceful, happy music begins to play, signifying not only the end of Sydney's horrifying experience, but the end of the series, and by extension, the end of this series. The last thing Sydney sees before the game finally ends is Mike kicking down the door, Nora behind him, here to save the day. This might not change Sydney's romantic feelings for Mike, or lack thereof, but it certainly makes me a little less of a hater. A little. Boneheads, I want to end this series by saying two things. First, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey. These games are super interesting and unique, and covering them has been a lot of fun for me. I know I sort of implied that these episodes would be shorter, but while I was working on the first couple, I discovered how much I had to say about the series and decided to put my all into it. It's been an absolute pleasure going over this series, and I can't wait to do more videos like this in the future about other games and series. Second, I want to remind you all what I said earlier. These games have been, sort of by design, paranoia fuel. They paint the worst picture and tell the darkest stories about the people who surround you every day, about strangers. But to live as a human, you have to give your fellow man a little bit of trust. Obviously, boundaries are important, and you have to be observant to know when you're safe, but living a life constantly looking over your shoulder is no life to live. Remember that not everyone is out to get you. Just a couple people. Good night, Boneheads. Stay safe. You never know who's out there.